Okay, this video clip is you heard it from me. Yes, that's right. Yeah, what you're going to hear is confirmation of things that you may or may not know about me. So the first thing is I am an early bird. I'm one of these people, as long as I can remember, and my natural biological clock wakes me up early hours in the morning. It's very rare I sleep in, and if I do sleep in, I have to be like really sick or absolutely exhausted. But yeah, I am an early bird, and that's probably because a lot of it has to do with just the culture and the responsibilities that I had in my journey. Okay, I love sports. When I was young, I used to, at school, I used to join athletics, and I loved athletics, and I got involved every time athletics was happening at school. So I was into all that. I liked shot put, high jump, but my favorite was more sprinting. I'm more of a sprinter than long distance running. I'm not really a runner. I prefer power walking. I love walking for hours. What else do I like? I like to explore. When I was little, I have to say, yeah, I guess I was a little bit of a tomboy. I used to love exploring, and I remember when we were young, we used to go to my auntie's house, and she used to live out, like there were mountains around her place, and I used to love going into the hills and the mountains and just explore nature. I love nature. I like to watch horrors when I was young, not anymore, but when growing up, we, in our culture and our family life, when I was young, me and my brother and my sisters, we used to go away and spend time with cousins, and then we would watch movies all hours of the night till the morning, and we used to like watching horrors, and my brother was pretty good at making us scared while we were watching horrors. But yeah, so I used to enjoy watching horrors just for the thrill of it. I like, what do I like? I like drama, romance, and thriller. I do, but as time moved on, I also like, documentary. I like true crime programs, and so one of the things that I like is I do like cooking. Even though my cooking skills have been a bit rusty, I'm slowly getting back into it. I did a butterscotch pudding last week. Right, today I am making chocolate chip cookies. I've been making for a while, so I will show it to you. Just one moment. Okay, they're in the oven right now, and I will get them out soon. Almost ready. Okay, I just made some chocolate chip cookies. Hey, I better go. My taxi is here. So I'll see you soon. Uh, I like when I like playing netball. When I was younger, I used to like playing netball. Those were my favourite games, was netball, softball and swimming. But I didn't know how to swim properly. I used to be scared of the deep end. And that was a weakness of mine that I one day decided to challenge myself. And I taught myself how to swim properly and how to swim and do lengths. Because I used to be scared of the deep end. And I used to be scared, I might be still a little bit, of heights. When I go to a certain level, my knees go all weak. And I can say I am scared of heights. But in saying that, if I had to do it, I'll do it, but I'd rather not if I don't. My favourite subject in school was English, economics, history, social studies, and sports. And I had a favourite teacher, and he was Canadian. When I was in an intermediate, and he was my favourite teacher. And he was the nicest teacher ever, really was. So hygiene is really important to me, and I love to drink lots and lots of water. I love perfume. Yep, I love perfume, and I guess I am romantic if I want to be. And I like to sing. I come from a family of where, singing, some of my brother and my sisters are good singers, and they can sing, and, they're quite musical. And I like to sing, but I'm the amateur in the family when it comes to singing, but I do like singing. I am a perfectionist, and I love to be organised. Before I was going through all the things that I was going through with my privacy, I used to time management was important to me, and I would get myself into a routine which I stuck to, that helps me to do things and get things done on time. So time management was very important to me. I'm really rare when it comes to commitments. I'm never really late, and if I am, which is random, I have to have a really good reason if I'm late or away from, absent. And I used to smoke when I smoked as a teenager, and I smoked for quite a while, and it became sort of like I actually enjoyed it. It was my luxury. Everyone has their luxury, but that definitely, smoking I enjoyed, but then I gave up, and I actually haven't smoked for almost 20 years. That was one of my biggest challenge, was to give up smoking, and I'm so glad I have. Alcohol, I'm not really a drinker, but I am a casual. I will drink just to socialise. I don't like being around drunk people. When people get drunk, I want to go home. I like to be in control of my mind and my environment. So I'm not really into the party scene. I like to go window shopping, and I'm one of these people who likes to do lay-bys. When I couldn't afford something, I would like to lay-by and pay things off, because that was the only way sometimes I could afford stuff, nice stuff, that my family needed. So I would lay-by. I was right into my lay-bys, and I used to like op shopping. I was into all that, and I used to like to go to the markets and yeah, and just check out stuff there. And I enjoyed garage sailing. And my favorite takeaway is Burger King and KFC. And when I was 10 years old, I broke my arm. I used to love exploring and climb trees. That was what I was like. I was a shy kid, I'd say. I'd say I was a very, very shy person. But I like to explore. And one day we went away on a family holiday trip, and I wanted to climb this tree. So I climbed this tree, and I climbed it pretty high. And then well, without thinking, somebody was calling all of us to come inside the house. And I just remember, like, because, you know, we had to hurry up, and without thinking, I jumped off the tree instead of climbing down the tree. And then I landed on, like, I never, you know, when you're active, you know, kid, you don't think about safety or anything like that. But I jumped off the tree, and I landed on my hand, and I broke it. And then I recall being in so much pain, but I was scared, and I was scared I was going to get into big trouble because I knew I'd done something to my arm. And then I went inside, and my dad was there, and yeah, he found out that I'd broken my arm, and he was really upset with me. Oh, I was in tears. I was in so much pain. But instead of like taking me to the hospital, my dad did his old-fashioned traditional way of, you know, fixing a broken arm, and he fixed my arm. A very painful way. I still remember times I cried when he massaged it and did all these things to put my hand and yeah, to straighten it. And yeah, so, but I didn't go to school for a while, but he would yank it and do all these things, and I remember screaming as a child. So it was a very painful experience for me. And but yeah, my arm came right. It's okay, there's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, my dad actually fixed my arm, and instead of taking me to the hospital, yeah, he fixed it. So yeah, that was one of my experiences. Okay, I have been to three different high schools in my lifetime. So I've actually lived in 2 different states. The reason for this was because of circumstances that were out of my control at the time. Bearing in mind, I'm, you know, just a teenager. So would you call me a high school dropout? What is a high school dropout? Well, I don't think I would class myself as a high school dropout because I actually enjoyed high school. But because of circumstances that were out of my control, I had to relocate and go to, 3 different high schools in my high school year. I did finish each semester to the end of the year, my 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. But in saying that, my 6th form, I didn't stay to the end of the last semester at the end of the year because of reasons out of my control. And whilst I was in high school, I actually really enjoyed high school. In 3rd and 4th form, I went to my high school, where I actually had a very I had a favourite auntie whom everybody knew. She was well known to the community, and she was actually our school teacher. And in those days, when she was teaching, she was very much well respected by the community. Everyone knew who she was, and those that knew her well knew you just don't get into trouble, because if she found out, you know, you hear about it. And I was scared of her, all for the right reasons, because I didn't want to get into trouble, and because I knew I'd get a growling if she knew. I didn't want to disappoint her. And yeah, but she was someone I really admire and look up to, this auntie of mine. And so yeah, so I went to the school she went to, and that was in my third form and fourth form year. So yeah, but she was a major influence in my life at that time. Okay, I first started working in my full-time employment at the age of 16 and a half, like near the end of the year. I left high school, then I worked immediately in a full-time job, and I started working in a Summit factory. I started working there as I sewed Summit shirts. So that was my first occupation, my real employment. But before then, I had other little jobs, you know, on the side. But this was my first full-time employment, and I've had lots of other employments in the public sector in different jobs. I've worked also in other jobs before I actually got my job working in the office. I stopped at a car accident once upon a time. I was travelling on my way home. It was on the motorway, and I just saw this car just drive off the motorway, swerve off the motorway and down into a bank. It wasn't just down a hill, it was actually in a bank. And so I did natural reaction. You see something like that, you stop straight away. And I hopped out of my car and I went to the actual scene of the car accident. I was really nervous and scared, and I'm praying to myself that, you know, hopefully this person is okay. But the car accident was pretty bad. I don't know why the person swerved off the motorway, but the car was tipped, and it was a nose down, you know, like the wheels were up. So I got as close as I could to see if the person was, you know, okay. But the person was a female, and she was actually knocked out. And I called the police, and I just stayed there and talked to her. She was in and out of conscious. She couldn't really, she was out most of the time, but I was just talking and just telling her she'll be okay. And then the police and the cops came and the ambulance came. But yeah, that was a pretty freaky experience for myself. But yeah, so I was the first one at the actual scene of the car accident. Okay, I like makeup, just like, you know, every other female. You know, some don't, but I do. I've always liked makeup. Hygiene has always been really important to me growing up. I have to shower every single day. It's really important for me that I can't go a day without showering. And just dressing up, whether I like to have a reason to dress up, but in saying that, I don't have to have a reason to dress up. I dress up anyway, whether I'm home, whether it's just, you know, casual clothes, or just in my shorts and an eyeliner. So usually I just light makeup, yeah, just enjoying the things that females enjoy. In fact, I'm one of these people, and some of you may be a shock, but I actually sometimes sleep with my makeup on. But you know, I'll have my lipstick off, of course, but most of the time I don't bother washing the makeup off. It just sort of kind of wears off itself, and then I'll probably have a shower and just wash my skin with soap and water, and then I'll just use Nivea. Yeah, so that's me. And this is my natural hair. I don't dye my hair. The natural color of my hair and my actual natural hair. But my natural, my hair is actually naturally curly, but I prefer it to straighten it. My hair is actually really curly, but I like my hair straightened. And I use Nivea as the moisturizer I always have used, and yeah, that's what I use. And I don't, you know, some will probably be horrified, but I actually don't use cleansing stuff, you know, all the expensive cleansing creams and cleansing toners and cleansing, you know, expensive stuff that women use to cleanse their skin. I actually don't do that. I actually just use soap and water, and sometimes I forget to wash my makeup off. I just wash it off the next morning. It's not that I forget, sometimes I can't be bothered. So yeah, but then I just, you know, wash it off with soap and water, and I'll just put on my moisturizer. That's me. I wanted to be a hairdresser. Once upon a time, I actually had a desire. I thought, because I had started cutting, you know, people that I knew's hair just for fun, and I started cutting my own hair. And I realized I was actually quite good at it, and I actually liked it, and I got better each time. And so then I started experimenting with perming people's hair, just, you know, for free. And yeah, and I was quite, you know, I was quite surprised at how good I was, and I actually enjoyed the actual session, you know, doing other people's hair and perming it and stuff like that. So I thought, I think I actually want to be a hairdresser. But by this time I had done a few other jobs, and you know, you could have all kinds of desires, but you don't know what you want to do until you actually do it. So I have had a few other things, you know, a few other jobs, you know, so I thought, I'm being a hairdresser. But in saying that, I had another desire that I've always had as far as I can remember when I was young, even before I started working. And I recall having a conversation with my family, and I told them my desire of wanting to work in a big corporate office, like that's what I wanted to do, and environment. And they all laughed at me, you know, because it just didn't seem possible or believable at the time, and it didn't. But yeah, it was a heart's desire, and eventually that desire was granted. But that's a story on its own, and I will do a separate video clip just on that. Don't know when, just look out for it. But yeah, I got more than I bargained for, and I got my dream job, and I can say yes, I've fulfilled that dream, and I've been there, and I have done it. All right, where am I from? I am from the beautiful Pacific island of Western Samoa. I was actually born there. I am actually adopted. So I come from a very big family, I think there's 7, 8 of us in my adopted family, and then in my biological family, I'm number 9 out of, I think it's 14 in total, but they're all over the world. It's quite bizarre, but yeah. I found out I was adopted when I was 12 years old, and my father actually was the one that, you know, when I found out about it, he told me the full story. But I won't talk about that in this video because of the depth of the actual what happened. But yeah, I'm adopted, and I am legally a legal citizen in my country. And my background is I was brought up in a Christian church, so I think a lot of you will already get the gist from watching all my videos and watching me on Facebook. If you've been watching me since Facebook, you would know that, yeah, as far as religion is concerned, I'm a Christian. But yeah, that's my upbringing, so that's my background. Talo falava, wa mai oi. I just said hello. How are you? Yes, I am bilingual. I can speak 2 languages, but I can actually understand 3. When I was young, I used to love being involved in culture. I love culture. Yeah, so that was something I did when I was in high school. I joined the culture group, so I enjoyed mixing with other cultures, and that was one of the things I enjoyed. I can touch type. I love typing. I can type from about 50 to 7 words speed touch typing, probably more if I, did it all day. It's not hard for me to pick up the speed and go over 70 words per minute. Because I used to love typing. When I was in school, that was another favourite subject of mine, was actually typing and shorthand. I like to dance. I love dancing, and I enjoy music. Okay, I can't eat eggs, like poached eggs. It's weird because I used to, and it's weird because the odd time if I'm in the mood, I will have it, but I rather not. It's like sometimes I just can't eat it, and it just makes me feel sick. Don't know why, but I can have it in mixed up with food, in a cake, or mix in with your food. But I can't, like, for example, fried or poached eggs. I don't like it like that. So yeah, that's one of the things I don't like. And I'm scared of heights. I recall one time, one of my jobs, I was working in the hospital, and I had to go up in this building, and it was like right on top floor, and I had to, for some reason, I had to go to this place upstairs, and then you had to look down, and my legs would go all week, and I'm scared of heights, and I'll do it, but it is like my legs go weak, and so I don't like heights. I'm quite fussy when it comes to writing. I like to write. My free time, I love creative writing. I love writing. I love using different words. I love experimenting, and I love researching. And if I could, I'd live in a library. Sounds a bit geeky, but yeah, I actually love that kind of thing. But I'm also very particular of the kind of pen I use. So I don't, everyone else for example, if I was at work, I used to go buy my own special pen. that was because I just had to sign in a particular kind of, you know, pen. I was quite fussy, and when I find a pen I like, I stick to it. But yeah, I love writing, and I love children. Yeah, I really do. Hey, my favorite color is red and forest green. My favorite programs I used to love when I was young was Wonder Woman and Bionic Man. Yeah, I used to love those programs. And my favorite books were Famous Five. I used to love reading those ones. And Pippi Longstockings was one of my favorite books. It was about the strongest girl in the world. When I was young, I couldn't speak English properly because I was born in the Pacific Islands of Western Samoa. So my father was very, you know, old-fashioned, but he really wanted me to get to know the English language. So I wasn't really brought up speaking my language at home, even though families spoke it. But my dad actually wanted us kids to learn English. And it just so happens English is my favorite. You know, I love English, and yeah. So I was actually brought up because my father, you know, he was quite an intelligent man himself. He worked in telecom as a linesman, and yeah, he was pretty onto it. My dad was, but he wasn't into the hardcore culture, you know, that he was brought up in. He wanted, you know, us kids to learn the European culture, and yeah, and that is what I am used to. Yeah, and that's just the way it is. And my dad just didn't bring us in the you know, the old traditional culture like he was in. He actually you know, he had other you know, dreams for us as children. So yeah, I am definitely a citizen in my country, and English is my first language, but I can still speak and understand my native, you know, tongue of where I was born. And all right, I think I will leave it there. So this video was basically just to, you know, kind of get used to know a little bit more about me. And, you know, I think by now some of you are starting to get the gist and things are starting to make sense. But my main culture that I'm used to is what I've been doing for the last 17 and a half years. And that's where my experience comes from. But yeah, so I've got a bit of a combination of quite a bit of everything. Yeah, been through quite a bit of, you know, mix. What would you call it? Let's just say I've had a bit of a journey. It's been an amazing journey, and if I could choose, if I had a choice to do it again, no, I wouldn't want to do it again. No, I wouldn't. No way. But that was just how it was for me. So I'll just leave it at that. That was just this video clip. It was just to, you know, for you to get to know me a little bit more. and as time goes on, that is my intention, is to, for you to get to know me a bit more. Basically it's to help, give back, to try and help others with, the things that I've learnt. So I will finish at this, and thank you for watching.